Welcome to Wise Minds, Wild Hearts, the podcast for heart-led high achievers just like you, ready to take inspired action and achieve true alignment. If you're craving deeper influence, greater impact, and a life that genuinely lights you up, you're in the right place. I'm Kip Clark, former academic turned entrepreneur, transformational coach, elite athlete, and shameless fountain pen addict. Here, you'll learn how to leverage the beautiful wisdom of your years with the wild passion that drives you forward. Together, we'll break through those limiting beliefs, unlock the power of your subconscious mind, and create a life that aligns with your soul's desire. Ready to create the kind of impact you've always dreamed of? Let's do this.
Well, welcome everyone to the Wise Minds, Wild Hearts podcast. And today I'm really looking forward to this conversation with my friend Karen Porter. I will let her talk a little bit about who she is and what she does, but she's someone that is a true dynamo. She is out there making a difference in the lives of women, particularly midlife women. And I know she's going to talk about why that's so important. So welcome, Karen. Welcome.
Thank you, Kip. Thanks for having me.
Oh,
I'm excited to be here.
Yes, good. So I always like to start by asking my guests a little bit about their backstory. And just as a way of preamble, that's not just a softball question to lob at you to get things going. I've always found, and you may find this too, that I enjoy hearing about people's journey. It's rarely linear. It's almost always a kind of circuitous path. How anyone I'm talking to got from where they were to where they are now. And I know your story is an interesting one, a very powerful one. So can you share with our audience a little bit about how you got here? Where did it begin, and basically what was going on in your life?
So most of my adult life, I was actually in the financial industry. I grew up in a home that was very loving, but very, I would say perfectionism was very rampant. And my father owned his own business, a very successful business, but I always called him a workaholic. So I had this combination of workaholic father and perfectionistic mother. And so I think I just grew up thinking that I was supposed to do it all, right? I was supposed to, have an amazing job and house and just have everything just so, even though I don't know that I acknowledged or ever thought, oh, I need to be perfect. I don't think I thought that, but clearly that was in my subconscious. So I went off to university, taking, I'm pretty sure what I thought my father would want me to do, right? What I should do. And I took commerce and economics, so a business avenue at university. I'm sure that was not, the first thing on my mind that would be enjoyable, right? But that's what I thought I should do. And so I was in the financial industry all of those years, and that's all I knew until well into my 40s. But throughout, in trying to raise a family, busy with the kids and trying to do this stressful job at the same time, I didn't realize until after. I thought, oh, this is just the stress. I'm supposed to be able to do this all, right? But I realized I was very much out of alignment with myself, realized that much later. And the way I know that is what I was dealing with from a health perspective. So I dealt with irritable bowel syndrome, so that that bloating, discomfort, bathroom trips, never knowing what I should be eating because everything seemed to be bothering me. But what was even worse was the debilitating bouts of anxiety that I would get, which would spiral down into suicidal depression. And on more than one occasion, I was hospitalized and in the psychiatric ward, which is very scary. Locked door, you're in there with, all kinds of people. Um, and it's strange because I almost can't even relate to that person that was in, it's hard to understand how I was thinking like I was, but it's, like I said, it started with the anxiety. And from there, it's lack of sleep, lack of, not eating enough, and then, everything going right through me. So it's no wonder I didn't have the nutrients that my brain needed, or the sleep to be able to think properly. So, and of course, my doctor just gave me medications for depression, for anxiety, for IBS, and nothing really, didn't really help it, right? It was just, we just kept throwing things at it. And it really wasn't until I was in my late 40s and I went to a cooking class, and it was hosted by a nutritionist. And I listened to her and I thought, I think I need to talk to her some more. So I started working with her, changed my diet, changed, a number of, lifestyle factors. And lo and behold, my gut felt so much better. But what I didn't realize is, because of the gut brain connection, that it was also affecting my mental health. So it became everything that I was interested in and researching. So I decided to go back to school and become a holistic nutritionist, and finally quit my financial job, which was a big identity crisis, but nonetheless, it's what I needed to do. And I started to work with clients primarily around food and nutrition, but I was really starting to expand beyond that. Unfortunately, I had one more depressive episode, and it was really bad because now I'm a health coach, and I'm feeling even more shame than before because I can't look after myself. Right. So it was really hard. But I learned even more tools than I had learned before, and just, dug my way out of that with pushing myself out, with volunteering, with breath work, and just a number of different things, along with the good eating and the exercising and everything. So yeah. So because I'm turning 60 in May, and so I love to work with women, surround myself with women my age who want more for themselves. And the other reason that I love it, aside from personal reasons, is because I find women in midlife, they can't always do what they've always done before and be feeling the same, right? Like, so many women think their bodies aren't working for them anymore, but actually it's just our bodies are trying to tell us something, right? So I say that we need a new operating system. And so that's what I love helping women with, so they can feel like themselves again.
Yeah, that's so powerful. And so, you've touched on so many things in that. And what struck me, because I hear this all the time when women are talking about what they've come through, the thread that connects us all is this. At least at some point in our lives, we were spending a lot of time and energy in doing what we thought we should do, what others were expecting of us to do, meeting the expectations of others, and or putting out a lot of time and energy in caring for others,
Right.
with nothing left to care for ourselves.
Exactly.
So thank you for that, and for sharing in such a vulnerable way, because I do think there will be women listening to this, watching this, who will be able to relate to that. Yours was a really kind of extreme thing, but
Yeah.
you come through it. You're absolutely radiant now.
Mhm.
And so there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And sharing our stories like this, the way you've just done, it shows other women that regardless of what you've been through, and it's not to minimize or trivialize it, but whatever you've been through, whatever you're going through now, there is a way through it. There is a way through it. And that someone like a Karen Porter, a Kip Clark, someone else who has been there and has figured some things out and is willing to share about that and talk about it and help support other women. That is so powerful, so beautiful. So thank you for that. And the other aspect of it is this, I love that you're focused on midlife women, because don't we just go through, we go to hell and back, I would say, in midlife with perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause. It wreaks havoc on our bodies, havoc. You talked about your brain as well. That's another factor for midlife women. Sleep is another one. That's one that I have struggled with for quite a long time. So it's hard. There are a lot of changes going on. And yet it is still this time. And this is why my podcast is called Wise Minds, Wild Hearts. So far, you've been talking about the wisdom that you've been acquiring. We do have wisdom in our bones from just decades of living our lives. And the wild hearts part is that I find midlife women, a good portion of them, reach this point where they're done supporting everyone else. They're done with giving to the point of depletion. They're done with feeling tired. And now they want to start to prioritize themselves. And so your message is beautiful and timely. But focusing just on the health aspect and the nutrition and so on, why is it so difficult for many women to work on their health, especially in midlife? And what is it that you find typically women are missing when they're trying to regain that health and that sense of thriving again in their lives?
Right. Yeah. I mean, so often, even when children may be older and, women might have a little bit more time, or maybe they don't because now they're looking after parents, right? There could be that too. But so many women I come across, they think it's selfish to look after themselves. So they don't. And or often they think they can figure it out on their own because there is so much information out there, but really so many women benefit from the knowledge, the coaching, the accountability, the support, the community, right? And oftentimes the way we approach it, or the way so many women approach it, is they think, well, I just need to eat less and exercise more, but that really doesn't work, especially in midlife. And, it's so often the things in midlife that we're not looking at are, the inflammation that can happen as we age, especially if we're not feeding our body properly or moving properly. Big one is blood sugar balance, right? So it's not just about the calories, it's the quality of the food that you're putting into your body, right? So we want whole foods. And then the third one, which is probably the most important, is our nervous system. So you can eat, you can eat all of the healthy food and move your body, wonderfully. But if you are constantly in fight or flight, you're not going to be healing your body. You're not going to be losing weight. Your cortisol is high. Your body's not releasing that weight. And we do know that with perimenopause and menopause, our body distribution, our fat distribution changes. And yes, as we age, it is our metabolism slowing down, and it's easier to put on weight, right? So now we have to do something different. And also hormones, right? We can't, that's the other thing. The calories in, calories out concept doesn't look at our hormones. And so it's our sex hormones, of course, that are going down in perimenopause and menopause. But it's also, we've got to look at our adrenals, and are you overtaxed and constantly stressed? Then that's a problem, because the adrenals are really taking over, when the sex hormones are depleted. So you want your adrenals strong. And then there's other things like leptin and ghrelin, which are, what makes us hungry. And leptin is the hormone that makes us feel satiated. So there's a number of factors that are involved in, in really being healthy. And it's funny, so many women are thinking about losing weight, right? Like they come to me because they want to lose weight, but I know that weight is just the byproduct of a healthy body. So sometimes if I've got someone who's a big exerciser, and don't get me wrong, I love exercising, I'm all about that, but sometimes we need to take a period of time and just not be working so hard. We need to really be in that parasympathetic healing state, right? So we've got to do that for a period of time so that we reduce inflammation and release weight and balance our nervous system, and then we can go, right? Then we can ramp it up. So yeah.
Well, the body doesn't lie, does it? I mean, I
Right.
think we get really good at ignoring the signals our body sends us
Mm-hmm.
from a fairly early age.
Yeah.
And because we're often really distracted when we're eating,
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people will have a TV on, or they've got a device nearby, or there's something going on that we're not really fully present when we're eating. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I was fortunate enough to grow up in a household where we were not allowed, there was never a TV on during mealtime or a
Yeah.
radio. We were sitting and having a conversation. But even sometimes with that, the conversation can take your mind off and you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
And I noticed myself, for example, I love milk, whole milk. I mean, I love it, but it would bloat me,
Mm-hmm.
except I wasn't paying attention to that.
Yeah.
And when I started paying attention, feeling, I just, but it also takes time to single out things. So when
Mm-hmm.
we're eating a lot of different things, which is the thing that's causing the inflammation, could be more than one.
Exactly.
So that takes a
Yeah.
little bit of time. And I'm sure you've got systems and processes for figuring all that out.
Mm-hmm.
But it just, I wanted to comment on that aspect of it, that our bodies never lie. And it's up to us to start to pay attention to the signals, the
Mm-hmm.
bloating or the discomfort, or am I feeling really tired after a meal? And what does that say about what I've consumed? And so
Exactly.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love what you've just said about taking rest as well. And this is a message. I know you're a high achiever. I'm a high achiever, so I recognize it right away. And this is a podcast that's meant for high achievers. We're very used to just soldiering on, keep going.
Right.
That's how we've accomplished so much. However, maybe that's okay when we're younger, but even when we're younger, we still need times of rest and recovery. As an elite athlete, I know that I cannot possibly train at the top level nonstop. I've got to have, and so I'll do periodization training, and nutrition can kind of work the same way, I would imagine. Periodization training means I'll spend a period of time, it might be, let's say, 8 weeks, where I go hard with hypertrophic training. And then I take the next period and I'm doing more around flexibility and making the muscles
Right.
more lengthened and elastic. And before a big competition, I'll actually taper, so that I get
Mm-hmm.
some recovery prior to it. Otherwise, I'm going to
Yeah.
hit the competition wanting to have, be in my peak performance state, and I'm exhausted because I've overtrained.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so with nutrition, same thing. We get to sort of look at it in phases, and our overall health and rest and recovery is
Mm-hmm.
really, really important, and allowing our bodies digest and to sort of
Yeah.
deal with things. So important. So I'm curious to know, because I know you work with women, and I know you've got this beautiful program. What are the 5 areas that you'll focus on with clients? What are the 5 that are most important you've found?
Yeah, so I really feel that the top 2 are mindset and nervous system, which I'm sure you can relate to. So mindset is everything. It gets us in the game of, what we want to do, but it also helps us continue to stay healthy, right? So I'm always working on mindset with my clients throughout the program and beyond. Because sometimes people even say you can lose weight, but it's staying the course, right? And so that's what I love, is that the first half of the program is really when we make the changes and establish the new habits. And then the second six weeks of the program, we start making adjustments so that it really turns into what you be doing for the rest of your life. I call it the maintenance or the lifestyle phase, right? Because this is meant to be how you're going to live your life, say 90% of the time, right? We've all heard of the 80-20 principle, and I love that. If 80% of the time or 90% of the time you are doing the thing, you're moving your body, you're eating well, if you're in a good if your body is in a good state, you have some wiggle room, right? Where you can have you can deviate a little bit. Like if your body is metabolically healthy, you can do that, right? But yeah, anyway, so mindset is so important throughout. And so many women think, oh, I can't do it because I don't have the willpower. It's not about the willpower. It's getting in the right mindset and working with someone who helps, who helps you keep that there. And then, as I said, second is nervous system, because we really have to work on that. So many women are in that state of fight or flight way too much, right? So we've got to work on that. Then we really, we really dial in the food with, I give them parameters. It's never about, you have to eat chicken and broccoli tonight. It's not that at all, right? It's, you have the choices within the parameters of an anti-inflammatory diet, nutrient-dense diet. And then the fourth one is movement for optimization. So we start, we work on that. And of course, as women in midlife and beyond, well, really anytime, but especially in midlife, we've got to be working on the strength training, right? We've got to be working on our muscles. We can't let that go. And the last one is magnifying joy. So I really, in everything that we're doing, I want there to be joy in it. And, working on all of those things also makes you more resilient. I loved it when I had a client recently that had a very stressful job. And she said, Karen, I can't remember the last time I was stressed. So just by doing the program, even though I'm not saying we're working on resilience, you know what I mean? Like that's what is going on when we have the lifestyle habits that we're doing that help us balance our body. Sometimes I will talk about supplements. And there may be other supports that women need in terms of their hormones, but women don't necessarily realize that there's so many things that we can do to support our hormones in our lifestyle choices, right? So HRT might be something for that a woman needs, but we're going to look at all of the things, and maybe in fact she doesn't need that, right? But it really is very individual, and yeah, there's so much that you can do outside of that.
Well, you've got such a holistic program. It really hits, all the key areas. And I love that you started with mindset, because honestly, that's the foundation for just about any work a person can do, not just health and
Yes.
wellness, but just about anything. And I was thinking about even just the word diet, and a lot of people will take the diet mentality, and I distinguish that diet from nutrition. And I think what's dangerous about dieting is that it sets up us that this is temporary in our minds. If this is something I'll do temporarily, I'll hit a particular goal. Maybe I've got some kind of event or something coming up, and I want to look my best for it.
Right.
And then once the event is over, I'll go back to what I normally do. And so this is why I think so many people experience the yo-yo effect with the weight and overall health and so on. And so approaching it with the mindset, which I know you work with your clients this way, and letting that go, and talking more about nutrition and fueling the body for energy and for feeling that we're thriving, because that's not a temporary thing. As you said, it's a lifestyle thing. And I've loved that you've touched it, because I've always had a kind of rule as well, is that I don't completely cut myself off from the goodies. I've got I don't have a sweet tooth. I think every tooth in my head is sweet, because I love the sweets. If I cut myself off completely, I feel kind of miserable about that. So as long as about 80% of the time I'm taking care of my nutrition and eating clean and eating a way that I know will fuel my body for performance, then if I go to a birthday party, I can have a piece of cake and totally enjoy it and not feel any guilt about it.
Right, exactly.
However, what's important is, and I know you understand this, is then I have the discipline to go back afterwards and say, I'm so glad I had that cake. I loved every mouthful, and now I get to go back to eating mostly clean. And when we do that, what I've always found is my cravings for the things that I really shouldn't be eating go way down. I don't crave stuff that's super salty or super sweet, or so and one really interesting phenomenon, when we take care of one area of our body, and again, I know this is a holistic program you have, but let me know if you found the same thing with your clients, where when they start to address one area of their life, such as their nutrition, their wellness and fitness and so on, other areas start almost by magic taking care of themselves. So you may have clients that say, my relationship feels better now. And the way I'm showing up at work is better. So I'm finding that I'm more productive at work. So I'm getting more opportunities at work. And so when we start up leveling one area, and of course, health and nutrition is so foundational to everything else. When we up level one area, there's this kind of ripple effect. That just almost as if by magic, other areas start feeling better too. I've had so many conversations with people and clients who have said that to me.
Yeah, for sure. And I think too, what you're talking about, I totally relate to about, you can have the cake and then you go right back. A couple things that I was thinking about. One, and something I talk about with my clients as well, is what's really important is that it's your identity. So, you are somebody. And then the other thing I was thinking of when you were talking was, because you're such an athlete, many years ago, you made the connection with food and what it does for your body, whereas the average person doesn't make the connection about it being fuel, right? We just think, it keeps us thin or it makes us fat, right? It does so much more. Like food, for example, is like information for our bodies, right? And it affects how our bodies run and how our brain functions, right? So yeah, those two things that I was thinking of. And, the identity part is so important. Like that's the mindset piece too. And it's like, I will get up and exercise. It's just who I am. It's just
Yeah.
what I do. Right. So that's that identity thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, I tell clients, it's like, just remind yourself that you are someone who looks after yourself. You are worth it, right? Like, um, yeah, I am somebody who eats healthy, who takes, care of what I'm putting in my mouth, like all of those kinds of things. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this conversation around identity, because that also is so important to any area of our lives when we're thinking about it. And I'll share a little hack with you that I learned a long time ago from one of my coaches. And that was just to create an identity statement. And we can do this with any area of our lives. But one of the first ones that I created was it's an I am statement. So I'm an athlete and I move my body every day.
Hmm.
Really simple, but it's
Yeah.
very affirming, and it's a statement that can help bring me back if I get off track, right? Because
Hmm.
sometimes life gets in the way and we get derailed, best laid plans and all that. So then
Hmm.
I just remind myself, okay, I've had a few days. I mean, I try not to say 2 days in a row. I try to,
Yeah,
okay,
I
one
have
day I'm
that.
off. Sometimes though, it
Yeah.
happens. And so
Yeah.
an identity statement like that is just very simple. I'm an athlete and I move my body every day. Or
Mhm.
I am a healthy woman and I fuel myself
Yes.
well every day. Or so
Yeah.
you can create an identity statement for anything, and it's both identity and action. And I love
Hmm.
that blending. So it's the I
Yeah.
am, and this is what I do because of who
Right.
I am. So I
Yes.
am this and I do this every day. I am
Right.
that and I do that every day.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that you get such great results for your clients, Karen, because of this kind of multifaceted approach that you have,
Right. Yeah.
multifaceted and yet beautifully intertwined. So that really holistic approach again is so powerful.
Hmm.
So gosh, these conversations go by so quickly. But just anything else? How about if you could share your top, what do you want to share? One, two, your top tip. What's one thing, let's say, in working with clients for the way you have is such a powerful way? What would be your top suggestion for someone who's struggled with this and they want to take a step in the
Make
right
it
direction? So
change.
not something that's hugely overwhelming, but just something simple. Because when it comes to our habits, and I know you'll understand this inherently, but we never break habits. We simply replace a habit that's not working with another one that is.
Hmm.
Right? So when we think about breaking habits, that's not how it works psychologically. What actually happens is we'll replace something. It's why so many people, when they're trying to quit smoking, they'll tend to put on weight because they're
Hmm.
substituting the cigarette in the mouth with food in the mouth.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and that's not a great substitution, but
Right.
we again don't break habits. We substitute a better one for one that hasn't been working or isn't working anymore. So what would you say would be your top suggestion for someone who wants to make a really good start with this? Maybe she's a little intimidated, maybe she's felt like nothing's worked before, I don't know where to begin. What would you say to her?
Yeah. Well, two things that are really quite easy, but very impactful. And one of them, we hear it often. So this is nothing new. But really trying to drink water, right? So we want to drink half of our body weight in ounces of water. So I mean, you can do a quick calculation, but if you're someone that has not drink water at all, don't worry about trying to get in 8 or 9 glasses in a day. Start with just a couple. Carry around, like I've always got my bottle with me. So it's like I can't imagine leaving the house without my bottle. My bottle is more important to me than my phone. I'm not, tied to it. But no, they kind of both go together, phone and bottle. The other thing too is, especially if you're just not a water drinker, put something in it, like squeeze lemon or cucumber. The other thing that I really love is, and which are being talked about more, are electrolytes. So those are minerals that are, you would know, are minerals that our body benefits from: sodium, potassium, magnesium. And so I have a brand which it's like a healthy version of Gatorade, right? Gatorade we don't want because of the sugar. But one that I like is LMNT, or Element. So it's just the capital letters LMNT. Lots of different flavors, delicious, sweetened with stevia, but it doesn't have that stevia aftertaste. I'm really not a huge stevia fan, but it's good in those. Also, if you were just going into a health food store, is it Organica or Organifi? One of those ones has a really good electrolyte too. So, and you don't have to put in a whole package, just put in a little bit in your bottle of water, and it kind of helps you drink more, right? And it's actually doing good for your body. Like you can feel a bit more energized when you drink it, right? So and in terms of the water, if you wake up and drink coffee or tea first thing, change that, have the water first, right? Have like, I look forward to my organic coffee with reishi mushroom, but my incentive, is I drink my bottle of water first and then have the coffee after, right? So that will make a huge difference if you incorporate that, and then try and drink throughout the day. And then the other thing is how we breathe. So we really want to be aware. We want to try and be breathing through our nostrils always. Obviously, I'm talking, so my mouth is open, I'm breathing through my mouth. But if you're not talking and you're not eating, you want to try and be conscious of having your mouth closed and breathing through your nostrils, assuming you don't have an obstruction or a cold and you're congested. The other thing that you can do is, there's many different types of breathing that can help to slow down the nervous system. But even if you take a breath in and you extend, you exhale out longer, right? So the longer exhale will put us more into the parasympathetic state of rest and digest, right? So if you can do that before a meal, if you can, try and make a habit of doing that either when you wake up or when you go to bed. Actually, I do that every night. When I get in bed, I'll take a deep breath and I'll blow it out, like for a longer count. I do that a couple of times. So just those two things will start to make a difference. And then, of course, there's all the other things that I do with my clients. But yeah, those two simple things that are free, other than maybe to buy the electrolytes, can make a huge difference in how you're feeling, right?
Yeah, and they're so simple. It's
Exactly.
really simple to incorporate. And I love that you've said, don't worry about the 10 glasses of water today. If you're not used to drinking water, start slowly.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
most people will say when they start this, that they go from 0 to 10 glasses a day, it's like, I'm going to the bathroom constantly.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to be doing that. Well, your body's adjusting. It does adjust over time. It's not going to be how it is for the rest of your days.
Right.
But
right.
But the water, I mean, I just think about a typical house plant, and when it's not getting enough water, it is droopy like crazy. I mean, I keep a plant just right off my desk here as a reminder, because it'll show me if it needs more water. Well, of course, our bodies are the same.
Yeah.
We get droopy without enough hydration. And so, and I'll usually do one water and then one electrolyte, and then water and then electrolyte, and kind of mix it up, and kombucha every day and so on. So there are ways to hydrate that are not just drinking 10 glasses of water, like
of plain water. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
This has been really, really helpful. I knew it would be. I knew it would be, Karen. Thank you so much. And I'd love it if you could share with people how they could get in touch with you. Where can they find you? Website? I mean, where are all
Yeah.
your
So
places?
my website is karenporter.ca. So really easy, just my name.ca. Same for Facebook. And on Instagram, it's Karen Porter Health Coach. Yeah.
And you're very active there, and you've got lots of great tips and all kinds of things going on. So it's a good, if anyone is thinking about this, and hopefully you are after having listened to this or watched this, get in touch with Karen. She's the real deal. She can absolutely take you from wherever you are, regardless of what you've been through, to a much healthier, happier place.
Right.
And really, that's what we all want. Just want to be happier.
Exactly. That's the thing. We want to feel vibrant, right? It's not about the number on the scale. It's about being 60 and 70 and whatever age and feeling vibrant and like you can do what you want to do, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this, Karen. I've really enjoyed it. I know it's
My
been
pleasure.
helpful to our listeners and viewers, so thank you.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
All right, my friends, that's it for this episode. If this has been helpful to you, let me know. I love to hear about all the positive changes you're making in your life. And if there's someone you know who might benefit from hearing this message, please share the love, my friend. See you next time on Wise Minds, Wild Hearts.